Chairman. Mr. Liu, thank you for being here. Could you repeat the timeline that you explained to Mr. Shelby about when you had knowledge of the IRS issues and when you had discussions with the auditor?
Senator, I had one conversation with the Inspector General. It was on March 15th. It was a session that was one of many meetings I had to meet with senior officials at the department soon after becoming secretary. I then saw the results of the report when they became public.
Were you curious enough to ask when you talked to the Inspector General about what the impact that may have been?
Senator, what I said to the Inspector General was, you have my full support. I want to know the findings when you have them, and I'm going to take actions to fix any problems you find.
What did the Inspector General say specifically, though, that caught your attention?
Senator, it was a very brief conversation on this matter. It was noting that there was an audit underway, suggesting that there might be troubling findings, and that was it.
And you didn't ask any additional questions?
Senator, you know, the IG process is one where a head of an agency ought not to be in any way getting in between.
See, I disagree with that.
Inspector General and their work.
I've been through a number of audits in my political career with audit through government agencies. And any time, and you always have preliminary findings, and you sit down and you talk to them before they issue their final report. And I'm just surprised that you had no additional questions if there were troubling findings.
Senator, I think that there's a well-established practice at the Treasury Department of not bringing audit findings to the Secretary until they're final. Audit findings in preliminary form change frequently. They change in direction, they change in degree. They're not actionable until they're final. At the moment they're final, they come to the Secretary.
But I would think you'd be curious enough to ask additional questions and want to know more if there's troubling findings.
Senator, I said to the IG what I have said to every auditor I've ever worked with, which is you need to complete your work. If there's a problem, you have my commitment of support, and we will fix anything that's wrong.
Why is Sarah Hall Ingram still employed with the IRS?
Well, Senator, the individual you're describing is not working in the area that is currently at issue. Well, the chronology matters, and she was at the time assigned to work on the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, which she's been doing since. So she was actually not working on this, to the best of my knowledge. I can say this, Senator, that any individual who is responsible will be held accountable. But we also have to wait until the facts are clear.
Yeah, but she testified in 2011 that she was the commissioner of the tax exempt and government while all this was going on. She also said in 2012 testimony from the Senate Finance Committee over Indian tribes that she was of tax exempt status. So she has testified over the last couple years up to recently that she was the commissioner over this. You know, you named some employees. Will she be held accountable?
Senator, what I've said is our policy. Anyone whose actions are such they should be held accountable will be held accountable. There will be a new acting commissioner as of tomorrow. His first order of business is to make the factual determinations of who is to be held accountable.
Thank you. You know, we're talking financial security here. This is what this is all about, is financial security. You know, there's probably spent more time around the kitchen table talking about their finances between mom and dad and grandparents than probably any single issue. And probably more so in Nevada, where highest unemployment, highest foreclosures, highest bankruptcies. So you can imagine the kitchen table talk that's going on. And there isn't any agency in America that probably has more control or more input on your ability to win or lose, your ability to have financial security or not have financial security. I just did a teletown hall meeting recently, over 6,000 calls. This was last week. And we asked the question about hiring 16,000 new IRS agents after everything. By the way, the adjectives in this teletown hall meeting was that the IRS is biased, they're corrupt, they're politicized, and they're eager to attack White House adversaries. This is coming out of my state. In essence, I believe the IRS has violated the trust of the American people. And when you ask them the question, should we hire 16,000 new IRS agents, 61% says absolutely not. So I'm concerned. If you can't trust them, if you can't trust them with your own taxes, if every businessman that comes up to me that gets audited is wondering if they're doing it that the IRS is doing it for political reasons or for reasonable steps and following their own regulations? That's a difficult question for me today to answer.
Senator, I have said, the President has said that the actions here were unacceptable. But I think it's important to note there's nothing in the Inspector General report to suggest in any way that there was any political direction or political pressure brought to bear. These actions were unacceptable. They have to be corrected. They can't be allowed to happen. We have to restore confidence in the IRS. The IRS has to be beyond any suspicion and bias.
Do you oppose a special counsel?
Senator, there are a lot of investigations going on right now. I've made
clear. Do you think the IRS is good enough to police themselves?
I think that there are many committees of Congress now looking at it. The Justice Department is looking at it, and we have a new acting commissioner coming in who's going to do a top-to-bottom review beginning tomorrow.
For the record, just let me be very clear that I want my name in those who are asking for a special counsel for the IRS. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.